This is ShadowQuant, Stocks, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Thursday, June 18, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. SPY is down 1.25% in pre-market, trading at $740.96. QQQ is off 1.1% at $722.51. Broad market indices are under pressure as the 10-year 2-year yield curve remains flat at plus 0.29 pp, and inflation stays above the Fed's target. Let's look at the previous episode's results. Pulse nailed it with a bearish call on QQQ to 725, which closed at 722.51. Grid also called it, targeting 720. CIPHER matched that. Apex was right too, but SPECTER called it neutral on QQQ, wrong. SPECTER, your accuracy is at 45% on a one-call losing streak. What did you miss?
I didn't factor in the sector rotation. The market's moving out of tech and into industrials. I assumed QQQ would hold better, but the broader macro and earnings momentum shifted the tide.
CIPHER, your accuracy is 52% on a one-call winning streak. What's your edge?
I focus on flows and earnings. Kroger's miss and INTC gap up show how sentiment is shifting. That's what moved the market.
Grid, 51% accuracy on a winning streak. What's your angle?
I stick to charts. SPY's test of $735 is key. If that breaks, we get more downside.
Pulse, 51% on a winning streak. Your take? I track fear and greed. The VIX is only up 0.21, but the market is down 1.25%. That divergence is key. It means risk-off is not fully priced. Apex, 51% on a winning streak. You synthesize, what's your read?
I connect the dots. SPY's drop and the VIX's modest rise suggest a mixed risk-off. Sector rotation and earnings are moving the market, that's the story.
The market is under pressure. SPY and QQQ are down over 1% in pre-market. The 10-year 2-year yield curve is flat at plus 0.29 pp, and inflation remains above the Fed's target. VIX is at 16.41, up 0.21 from the prior session. Let's dig into the details. Let's talk about SPY. It's at $740.96, down 1.25%. Grid, what's your read?
Key support at $735, the June 12 low. If that breaks, we get a deeper correction. The 10-day range is $722.59 to $758.31. I'm bearish on SPY, targeting $735 by June 20.
Pulse, what's the sentiment? Fear and greed is at 42 fear, but the VIX is only up 0.21. That's mixed. The market isn't panicking, but it's not optimistic either. SPY's drop is real, but the volatility hasn't spiked. That's a warning. SPECTER, what's your take on the yield curve?
The 10-year 2-year is flat, but that's a lagging indicator. The real risk is in the equity market's reaction to inflation. If the Fed stays hawkish, that'll keep pressure on growth stocks. I'm bearish on SPY, targeting $730 by June 21.
Apex, how do these views connect?
Grid flagged $735 as support, Pulse noted the mixed risk-off, and SPECTER highlighted the macro risks. The story is clear. SPY's under pressure, and if the support breaks, it could trigger a broader sell-off.
Let's move to QQQ. It's at $722.51, down 1.1%. Grid, what's your take?
Key resistance is at $730, but the 10-day range is $686.37 to $744.76. I'm bearish, targeting $715 by June 20.
CIPHER, what's the earnings angle?
Kroger is down 9.7% on a miss, but INTC is up 8.2% on positive sentiment. Earnings are starting to shape the market. QQQ's performance will depend on how these stories play out.
Pulse, do you see any sentiment shift? The fear and greed index is still at 42, but the VIX is low. That's a warning. If the market continues to drop, we'll see more volatility. SPECTER, what's your risk view?
The 10-year 2-year is flat, but inflation is still high. The Fed is likely to stay hawkish. QQQ's drop is a sign of that pressure. I'm bearish, targeting $715 by June 20.
Apex, how do these views line up?
Grid $715 target, CIPHER earnings-driven view and SPECTER macro risks all point to a bearish QQQ. The story is consistent.
SPECTER, you pushed back on Grid read on SPY. Let's dig into that. Grid, why do you think SPY is heading to $735?
It's the June 12 low and key support. If that breaks, we get more downside. The 10-day range supports that.
SPECTER, what's your counter?
The VIX is only up 0.21. That suggests the market isn't panicking. If SPY holds above $735, it could stabilize. I'm not sure the support is as strong as you think.
Pulse, do you have a view? The VIX is low, but the drop is real. I think SPY will test $735, but not break it. The fear isn't fully priced in yet. CIPHER, what's your take?
The earnings calendar is starting to matter. If the market holds, it could stabilize. But if the sentiment turns, we'll see more pressure.
SPECTER, do you still think the support is weak?
I'm not convinced. The VIX isn't rising, so the fear isn't there. If the market stabilizes, we'll see a bounce. I'm not as bearish as Grid.
My 24-hour call. SPY bearish. Target $735 by next session.
My 24-hour call, SPY bearish, target $735 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $715 by next session.
My 24-hour call, SPY bearish, target $730 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $715 by next session.
The market is under pressure, with SPY and QQQ both down over 1%. Sector rotation is shifting capital out of tech and into industrials, and earnings are starting to shape the narrative. SPECTER and Grid have a disagreement on the strength of SPY's support. Watch the $735 level. What to watch tomorrow? Earnings from Kroger and Accenture. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Equities. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.